Welcome to the Dynasty Playbook, the urban dictionary of the fantasy community. I'm your host, Drew. You can find me on Twitter at DrewDotsonNFL. With me is my co-host as usual, Tyler. You can find him on Twitter at HBMIDP. And with us this week is a special guest, Adam, at AdamTZ. He is the head admin for the Dynasty subreddit. You gotta turn down your volume, dude. I can hear you. He's the head admin for the Dynasty Fantasy Football subreddit on Reddit, and he's also a writer over at DLF. Welcome.
Hey, what's up? Super excited to be here finally. Again, ready to knock some heads. Do what we do.
Yeah. Before we get started, just want to give a quick shout out to fantasyfootballcouchcoach.com or ffcouchcoach.com. The podcast is hosted there. And a shout out to Chroma, who provides us with our awesome intro and outro music. And for all of you watching this on YouTube, this is all getting edited out in the audio. This dumbness is not making it to the real public. So how y'all doing, guys?
Awesome, dude. It's Saturday night. Sticky Z's here. Dynasty Playbook. We have an ass ton of questions. Let's do this.
Super Bowl's tomorrow, and the NFL Honors is tonight. It's the last weekend of football till the Combine. Let's do it.
Ooh, that hurt.
I'm not sure what to do with my hands.
I know what to do with my hands, but I'm not supposed to.
You'll go blind.
I haven't yet, so it's not happening. So how confident you feeling about tomorrow, bud?
Oh, man. I don't know. Not my confidence level on a scale of 1 to 10 is probably about a 4.5. Nice scientific number there. Carolina's just so good, dude. And our offense is so bad. And Cam's a one-man gang, so I'm not feeling super confident, but by God, we got a chance.
At least watching Denver's defense against that offense should be fun to watch. At least it'll be a decent Super Bowl. Unlike what Seattle did to y'all.
And Washington and the Giants. And I've been on the wrong end of some Super Bowl ass whippings before. It's gotten nasty for me in my Broncos fanhood. But
tell me how hard it is to have a team that's gone to multiple Super Bowls. It must be so hard.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, as an Eagles fan, it's pretty hard. Must be pretty hard for you over there.
First world problems.
I mean, at least the Eagles got a couple of NFC championships. We had one good year. Well, technically we had 06 too, but that one was super fluky.
It's just hard whenever you want to try to talk crap on somebody's team and they just look at you and say, how many Super Bowl rings does your team have? It's pretty tough.
I'll just go back to my corner and sit down. It's okay.
Exactly.
I always turn it around. How many Super Bowl losses does y'all's have? Because we have 0.
It's a good one. You gotta remember that.
And for all of you nitpickers that are going to say, well, you don't have a Super Bowl, shut up. I'm a fan. I associate with my team. It's the easiest way to say it. Fuck off. And let's just jump right into it. We got a college player discussion for the week. We're hitting on Rashard Higgins from Colorado State, the Division II school. He is a true junior, 6'2", 180, maybe 190, and he just turned, 21? So he's young. He's kind of scrawny for his height, but it's not that bad, but it's borderline. With that frame, he could probably afford to put on a little bit of weight. I liked what I saw from him for the most part. He has really, really solid hands, excellent hands catcher in general. His ball tracking is good. His ball handling is excellent. You know, he runs a ton of out routes. They use him on screens, and as soon as that ball hits his hand, he's tucking it and he's protecting that ball. And it's in terms of fantasy, it's not a big deal, but that's huge for coaches. They love that stuff. His short area burst is fantastic. I'm thinking he's going to have a killer short shuttle at the combine. His 40 as a whole probably won't be blowing anyone away. It might be 4.5s. It might be low 4.6. But his 10-yard split's going to be pretty hot, I think. In terms of routes, if you go and watch him, you're going to see a lot of fade routes and a lot of out routes. But that doesn't mean he can't do the other ones. It's what his offense schemed him to do, and he does them fantastically. Especially, it's routes that utilize cuts, and he cuts as good as any wide receiver that's coming out right now. He's sharp. He doesn't waste movement, and that's a solid point to his game. I will say he doesn't sell the go route very hard. The corner's normally able to tell what he's wanting to do, and these are Division II corners, so they're not even the brightest guys. And it also leads into footwork. Footwork's also a part of that, and he has trouble like juking guys because they can tell by the footwork that he's not going to do what he wants them to think he's going to do. Try and figure out what just happened in that sentence.
Like that I know that yeah. He just looks like a good football player to me. There's nothing about him that just, other than a handful of catches that you'll see through his tape, that makes you just go whoa. But he's smart. Yeah, he appears to have really good awareness of where he is on the field with relation to his defenders, with relation to what his route assignment was. Sharp cuts, good feet, runs good routes, not physical at all. He's going to have a really hard time against like a Patrick Peterson type. Somebody that's just going to be in your face and on your case the whole time. He's going to have a tough time beating guys like that. But I think he's going to shred versus zone because that field awareness is going to come into play, and he's going to struggle with man-to-man coverage. And you watch his getting off of the bump, he doesn't really use his hands very well. He tries to do it with his feet. He tries to sell something at the line of scrimmage, and these pro cornerbacks are good enough athletes that they don't have to buy what you're selling for 3 or 4 yards. So I think he's going to struggle there. But a nice player. I think, we're not going to be looking at a superstar here, but we could definitely be looking at a guy that could be, potentially like a wide receiver 2 for your fantasy team. He looks like the kind of guy that could get some volume. I don't think he's going to have great yak. In fact, he's not going to have great yak. He's not going to have good red zone numbers because he's just not tough enough to beat those, that physical defense in tight areas. But I like him. Early, mid, second round, roughly right now. We're doing a mock right now. All 3 of us are doing a mock. And I think I took him like 206, and it felt pretty good right there. And we're still really early here, but I'm going to like him right there. It's going to be a nice, safe play.
Yeah, I have to agree with what my 2 compatriots were saying. He was a Biletnikoff Award nominee in 2014. He lost to Cooper, which is a pretty good company to be in. I definitely enjoyed his tape for a D2 player. It's as a novice film watcher, it's tough to really rank a guy when he's not playing good, elite talent. But yeah, I definitely thought he had great route running. He did sell a few posts. He would cut up and then cut out to the post, and it looked really clean. He had a double move on one of the corners in one of the games on Draft Breakdown, and he just ate him up. And he had a sweet double move, got to the pretty close to the end zone, almost scored. He definitely a hands catcher, that's for sure. He extends his hands, gets the ball. I noticed he uses his body when he needs to, which I thought was nice to watch because, when you really need to make a catch in the end zone, whatever, used his body. He definitely was a major producer for the team. He was by far their best, receiver, and that shows a lot because he got doubled a bunch. It's hard to get on a good go route when you two near the safety coming over. So they had him on curls also, which was good to see. Good timing with that. I think he could be a deeper threat, but it's not really what he excelled at. But he's just an all-around decent wide receiver. I mean, I definitely agree with what you guys are saying. Middle, second round. He's a wide receiver, so you can take him over a few of the maybe running backs. And his situation is not going to be as important because he can excel as a NFL wide receiver too for somebody. That's what I had.
Yeah, you brought up his comeback routes, and I had a note right here. It says he stopped on a dime. It's another point where his cuts are fantastic, and I don't know that he's selling the 9 routes so well as his cuts are so sharp and he bursts right back into them that there's nothing the back can do even if they're on him.
Yeah, I think the play calling was such that they would play him. The corners would play so far off him that the curls and the comeback routes just were money every time. There was no chance for them to get him because they would start running before he even started his route. So that was smart.
He'll kill a cushion. I mean, you give him 5, 6, 8 yards. Some of these zone defenses where they're giving you 8 or 10 yards at the line, he will eat that right up and make the play. And it's probably going to be making a play before he catches the ball and gets tackled. But boom, 1.8 points. Gimme.
And Tyler, you said you don't see him having a ton of yards after the catch. I honestly don't know. I can't say for certain because I saw him get maybe 1 or 2 opportunities to really get yards after the catch. He was getting the long bomb where the corner was already on top of him, or he was going straight out of bounds. And we're not going to get an opportunity to see if he can get yards after the catch, but I don't know that he can't do it.
I think it's because he was, especially in man-to-man, it was tight coverage. I mean, he doesn't separate really well. I mean, he makes nice cuts, and his footwork is great, but he doesn't blow back out of them. So typically the defenders, and I keep saying man versus zone, but this really showed up on his tape that, the man coverage, he doesn't have a big window. I mean, he makes the play, he gets the ball, but the defender's right on top of him. And unless you're Calvin Johnson, you're going to have a hard time shaking that guy.
I agree with that. I meant he does get a little bit of separation on the good cuts. If he can burst out right through there, that he has an opportunity to there, but he's not going to, he's not going to Demaryius Thomas it, or he's not just going to kill you like Julio does.
Yeah, that's fair. And at the NFL level, we'll have receivers throwing him open more often, too, because that quarterback, on the 15 tape, he's not very #good.
Now, I saw he had one screen from the tape that I did see, and I think the corner or whatever, the linebacker came over and just made a terrible tackle. But he put a little wiggle on him, which was nice to see. I noticed that he wasn't hard to tackle at all, but he wasn't like the easiest person to tackle for his size. And maybe that's just D2 defenders. I mean, I could probably be a D2 defender on a good day, but I thought he's not gonna be Demaryius Thomas out there, but he might be able to develop some.
He's a witty workhorse. Loves the film room. When I watch him, I'm sitting there going, "Hey, this kind of sounds like Julian Edelman or any handful of white wide receivers that you just say they're just good at football. They don't blow you away athletically, but they're just good players." He looks like a smart player.
He looks like a Belichick guy.
The coaches trust the shit out of this kid. Even his blocking wasn't great, but he knew how to get in the way. You know what I mean? He knew when to, I'm going to peel off this guy and go get the safety up the field because this guy's already out of the play. He just has a good sense of what's going on around him, and that's the kind of stuff that's going to get him on the field early. And that's another big thing for us.
Yeah, I thought he was very good. For a rookie wide receiver, you watch so much tape, and that no one cares about blocking. And he was actually in there. He missed a few that, was the guy, but you can only lock somebody up for so long.
To me, that willingness is the biggest selling factor because you can coach technique, you can coach, really technique is the most important thing. You can coach strength, but if they're a little pansy and they're afraid of getting hit, they're not going to do it. If they got some brass balls, that's all. That's all you need to start for a foundation for it. And I like him. He's going to probably slide in somewhere between my like 6 and 10 receiver in here, probably mid-second. But overall, I mean, I liked what I saw. There's flaws obviously, but not anything that bad. And with that, let's move on to our headliner for the show, and we're gonna redraft the 2015 rookie class. We're gonna hit the first 2 rounds, and old man first.
I think old man's muted.
All right, am I back?
You're back.
My bad. I'm taking Cooper. I took Cooper before. I'm taking him again. I love Gurley. Gurley's a generational talent, but Cooper's a wide receiver. So there's my tiebreaker. Didn't do anything to disappoint this year.
Yep, I'm gonna take the 2, so Adam can drop his 3 hot take here in a second. But I'm taking Gurley at 2. I mean, it's a chalk pick. If it wasn't for Cooper, he'd be the easiest 101 any draft class has ever had, except for 2013 with Nuke. But that's besides the point. It's Gurley, plain and simple.
Yeah, I definitely think there's a tier break there. It's pretty obvious after the year. But it's not much of a hot take, I don't think. But I'm definitely going to go with Devontae Parker as my 3. You know, I mean, it's not much of a move up from his ADP coming into the year. But he came in, I think people were expecting a little bit too much from him, and then he had that foot surgery, same as Julio Jones is. It took him a little while to get on the field, and when he was on the field, he wasn't really getting that much snaps. But his last 2 games, I mean, he really turned it on and showed what he could be, and that's what the team needs. I mean, Jarvis Landry is not a prototypical wide receiver 1. I mean, I love him. He's great for PPR. Tannehill has the hots for him, but I think Parker's going to have a great future, and this is a good spot for him.
Honestly, I saw a lot from Parker that was encouraging. I saw more from him than I was expecting to. So this, me saying it was, a fiery take or whatever, wasn't so much that a condemnation on Parker. Just Tyler and I still love White.
Yeah, people just after the 2014 class, that you just expect the wide receivers to come on the field and put up, monster record-breaking seasons, and it's just not realistic. And what you see from Parker is above average, for the NFL. So it was just really nice to see.
Yeah, I was down on Parker because I think I'm just kind of dumb.
No argument here.
Not wrong.
Yeah, I think he's going to break out. So 104, easy, Kevin White. I mean, what has he done? We haven't seen anything. So I'm still going to hold true to my eval, even though he's old as balls. I'm going to hold true to the eval that he's going to be a superstar. Still talking about the 7th overall pick in the NFL draft. I mean, those guys flop.
Also the 7th overall pick, another big wide receiver named Mike Evans. Kevin White's going to be in the top 5 for startups next year.
Woo!
Half-Life 3 confirmed.
Half-Life 3.
All right, and my next guy, I really struggled with this one because my tier is 3 thick on this, and I think I'm going to go with David Johnson. Tyler and I have told you a million times we like David Johnson. We don't have to go into that, but I think he's pretty clearly shown that he can handle all the offensive duties in Arizona. They just pushed Ellington to the curb. They didn't care. And if they re-sign Chris Johnson, that's fine. It might eat into his production in the very short term. But you saw how explosive he was. He was fucking nails. And there's no reason to think that won't be what his future looks like.
Yeah, that's a great pick there. I mean, his value's through the roof right now, which is nice to see if you got him in the second round, the mid-second, late second. I guess on some drafts. I like the White pick. It's good to stick with your read. I'm a little lower. He's older and missed a year of development. Um,
Good.
but that being said, I will be taking Doyle Green Beckham from the Titans. Another team big wide receiver guy. He's a perfect fit for that team, for Mariota. They're going to be able to grow together, and they'll be around together for a long time. And he had a pretty good year. I mean, for a rookie, he ended up with almost 600 yards, some touchdowns, had some good snappage near the end of the year. So I think the future is really bright. He might be somebody that could push second round next year startup because he just has the size and the talent that it takes to be there that you want on your team.
I could easily see him pushing up into that. He did what rookies are supposed to freaking do. You know what I mean? That's what they do. Yeldon, for me, is a pretty chalky pick here. I mean, it's DGB, it's David Johnson, it's TJ Yeldon, and that tier that Drew was talking about is probably the exact same that I have it. So Yeldon, for me, is a pretty easy pick here.
Yeah, Yeldon was in that bracket for me. And in terms of DGB, I don't care about any of the things he did on the field. The biggest thing I saw from him was he went a whole year without being an idiot once.
Yep.
He went to work, did his job, and did it well enough. That, to me, is the biggest selling point he could have made.
And you heard a lot of positive things from the coaches about him, that he was he wasn't lazy or anything. He worked really hard, and for someone who missed a year of football for being an idiot, that's huge. That's huge, and that's what knocked him down in the draft. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see a story where somebody just doesn't mess up and then continue to decline like we've been seeing. Manziel, Blackman might be with Gordon. We'll see how that plays out because he might be the 101 here in like a week when they let him back in. Everybody's going to go crazy. But my pick at, I believe I'm 107?
Yeah.
Yeah, is going to be Stephon Diggs. And DGB was not in that three-man tier. He was right under it. Diggs is in my tier with David Johnson and Yeldon. But I'm also an admitted Diggs lover, stalker. I don't know what the right word is for it, but there's probably laws against it. People are, I've heard some people say that it's a sell high, that we already missed the sell high in season, but even now is a sell high, whereas now I don't even think what he was valued at in season is his peak value. I think he's got a lot of room to go up. And people say, he can't be the number one option in an offense. But these are the same people saying Brandon Cooks can't be the number one option in offense. And he put up fantasy numbers. I'm not going to sit here and harp on that, but the NFL is not staying as strict to the guidelines as they used to. We're seeing guys succeed that didn't used to succeed. It's not out of the question that Diggs continues to produce and continues to outproduce what he's done so far.
Yeah, Diggs is definitely a great hold. I wouldn't be selling him because his value only has one way to go right now. I mean, even with this okay year, he could still be right where he is now. So him having a good year would go way up. But at 109, things start to get a little shaky, man. You could go 10 different ways here. It's all personal preference here. I think I'm going to go with Tyler Lockett for this pick. He is so fast, and he's so twitchy, and can be such a great route runner. And I think that the Seahawks are moving to a more. I mean, you saw it as soon as Lynch went down. They're moving to a pass team, like everybody else is. And I don't think Lynch leaving, whoever they bring in, they're not going to find another Marshawn Lynch. It's just not going to happen. So I think Lockett can step in as a serious option for that team. And if you have a return yard league, man, he's way up there because that dude take it to the house every single time. And with a lot of leagues going that way, he's a great pick.
Yeah, I have Lockett in a league that Drew and I are in with a few other guys, and I won the title with Lockett this year, and I went in like legit trying to punt the season. But it's 1 point for every 10 return yards, which is a wrinkle I've never seen, and Lockett was an animal. Absolute animal. So that was cool. So I'm going to break the rookie mock here. And what are we at, 110?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm gonna take Jameis Winston, man. Get my franchise QB, lock that shit down for 10 years. Done. Walking away. I'm not investing any capital on quarterback for a long, long time. There are a number of guys that I really like here, but let's take the surefire bet. That's Jameis Winston. I hate doing it in one QB, but right here,
You're the worst person ever.
it's a good price to pay, man. You know it, too.
I don't hate it, but that's more than I'd want to pay for any QB outside of the top 3 or 4.
Well, there's a bit of projecting going on here, too, but, let's say Jameis didn't crack that window.
He can, but when I say I'm only paying for like those top 4, it's because they've already proven it. There's no risk involved. And I disagree with what you said, Adam, that it gets really murky at number 9. For me, it gets really murky right after number 9. Lockett was the chalk pick there. And if you had told me I was going to be hyping up Lockett as the 9th best prospect during the offseason, I would have called you a heretic and had you burned at the stake. Nobody liked Lockett more than me. Even when they drafted him, they took him, the 3rd round? Within a week or 2 of that, I'm harping on it on the show, like, he's just going to be on special teams. He's going to be a returner. That's what he's good at. I was wrong. I was super wrong. I don't know what his ceiling is, but it's so much higher than I ever imagined it was going to be. He was extremely impressive. And for me at 11, I'm going to take a not quarterback because I don't like wasting rookie draft picks. And I'm going to take Matt Jones. And it's really murky for me here. I could have gone probably 4 or 5 different ways. But I'm going with Matt Jones because I like the situation.
Ugh.
The offense has to get better. It just has to. It just doesn't make sense. Plus, Alfred Morris is going away, and that's always a good thing. But it can potentially turn bad. But you can say the same thing about all these guys right below there. All of them are so just they're all standing on really loose ground. And Jones is just the most appealing to me out of that group.
Yeah, it's weird looking back and doing one of these because you don't like when you did it. Like Matt Jones is nowhere near here, and neither was a quarterback. But looking back, you can go with that. So this is, I guess, 12. For me, it's actually pretty easy. I'm gonna go with Melvin Gordon here. I think the pedigree's there. I was knocking him in season because Wisconsin makes good running backs. They have great line, and it makes people look really good. But I think he's a guy who has the job on lock. He's a guy who maybe not have looked great. He's a great buy now, but he leads the league in like broken tackles. He has some crazy metric stats out there, and their team's gonna get better, and he's gonna get better. So I think at the last pick of the first round, I would definitely take him over Matt Jones easily. I don't think Jones can carry the load that you would get. He's not a workhorse. He reminds me a lot of like a much worse Gio Bernard, where he's kind of can get some rushing, he kind of catch the ball a little bit, but he's just not as talented, I want to say. So I definitely would take Gordon over him pretty quickly.
Let's just tell Drew he's on crack.
That's a weird ass comp. I mean, I'm not even opposed to you disagreeing with me. That just seems like an extremely strange comp for me, but
I mean, as a role, I think Gruden, he kind of installed it was part of the installing the Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, Gio Bernard 50-50 split, and I think you saw a lot of that with Alfred Morris and Matt Jones, where Matt Jones was that role. I wouldn't call it a scat back, but he was, not rushing inside the tackles. He was catching balls more so than Alfred Morris, who is the grinder. So I think they definitely don't roll with just Jones going into the season. I think that would kind of torpedo any hopes they had.
But when Alf was sitting out, Matt Jones was rushing and Chris Thompson was catching passes.
Yeah, that's true.
He can do both. I don't know how comfortable I'd be with him as like my RB1 or 2. I think his upside's there. And I don't know why I feel so gun-shy on Gordon. I do. I was super hesitant every time I ranked him highly in the preseason, and I don't know why. I still don't know why. It's one of those just gut feeling picks, but I'm still passing on him here. He was my next guy on my list, but couldn't pull the trigger. Sorry to skip you, Tyler.
Did you skip me?
I didn't skip your pick, but I just butted right in front of you.
Oh, and I said, and you were on crack.
That was his pick.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was an antsy-ass crackhead. That's
I said all these, shaky ground guys, but there's a certain guy by the name of Jameis Goddamn Winston on the most firm ground of all time.
yeah, the ground of one quarterback.
Yeah, you
Who
would have
else
taken
is the
Ryan
QB1 this
Tannehill
year?
with that pick a year ago. You'd have been like, oh, give me some Ryan Tannehill right there.
We don't say that name here. You know who else was a QB1 this year, though? Kirk Cousins was a QB1 this year.
Kirk Cousins. I won a league with Ryan Fitzpatrick. I'm just saying, I mean, you can't deny the replacement cost, but I don't know. Whatever.
All right,
But-
Tyler, you're 201.
Sticky's got to move us along. He's like, all right, guys, you're doing it again.
'Cause I could go for how bad Matt Jones is all day, so I don't want to.
We probably need somebody behind the scenes, like DLF has, somebody to rein us in when we're being bad.
We just need
So,
to shot hours.
This pick sucks, man. I know what the pick should be, but I just can't do it because I don't like him. I mean, if you're picking right here and you don't take Brashad Perryman, you're probably getting too cute. So there you go. I'll take Brashad Perryman here. He ran a 4.26 40. He looks like he's 140 years old. Let's go, Brashad Perryman. He's going to walk in and start playing next year. I think in real life I'm trading out of this pick, but let's go with the chalk and then trade it when he has a big game.
No way. No way. Adam, I'm going to let you say what you have to say because I'm going to drop my pick and say why I think it's dumb.
I mean, I like Perriman. I like him because they have nobody else, and he's fast, and that's why I like him. Because Kamar Aiken's not good.
Hey, now.
Hey, he went to UCF, man. He's my homeboy. I'll
He
take
was
any
like my
UCF
wide
player.
receiver 3 for half the season.
Me too. He was awesome. Matt Schwab loved him. Loved him.
Oh,
He had like 16 targets one game.
Can we really believe that Matt Schaub came back and was like, yeah, I'm a quarterback again?
Like, what the hell happened? What had to really transpire for that to come about? I mean, you're like, well, he beat out Jimmy Clausen, played for the Ravens, and you're like, what the fuck? How did that even come about?
That news headline sounds like something that would have been randomly generated in a Madden game. But can we like take a quick second to talk about what the hell happened with Matt Schaub? He went from being like a 4,000 yard a season passer to
Pick six.
yeah, here's the football, go that way. And it happened in like a season.
Matt Schaub was a legit fantasy play like 2010, 11, 12. I mean,
Yeah.
solid QB.
That year the Texans went to the playoffs both times, and they lost to Cincinnati. He's the one who carried them through the regular season, and they looked good. I don't get what happened.
With Andre, he was force-feeding Andre 200 targets a year.
No, that'll do it.
Yeah, Andre Johnson will make quarterbacks look good. There's this thing about Andre Johnson where he's one of the best that's ever played the game.
He wasn't good enough to make David Carr look good.
Well, I mean, come on.
You can only ask so much of a guy.
Yeah.
But my pick here would have been Thomas Rawls. I mean, I guess I get what you're getting at with Perriman, but I think he sucks at football. So I can't pick him. I can't justify it. Give me Rawls. He's already shown he can produce on the field. He has the potential to have one of the best situations out of any of the rookie running backs in this class. And yeah, he might lose it a year. He might lose carries to Christine Michael. But
He might, yeah, that might happen.
I will fucking murder him. God damn it. That's why I just stay home by myself. Y'all are the worst. Okay.
All right.
Fuckers.
So 203, Rawls is good, maybe. I don't know. There's a non-zero chance they bring someone else in, for sure, to compete. Maybe as Lynch, probably not. But there's going to be someone else there he has to fight out, and he could probably do it. People slotting him in as their RB2, it's probably not a good idea. So that's my warning for Rawls. For my pick, this is 203. I'm going to take Nelson Aguilar because, man, what happened to him? We talk about rookies not seeing the field. He saw the field, and he just didn't. I'm an Eagles fan, so I watched a lot of the games. He just had a problem with getting open, getting separated. I think the playbook was very complicated. It took Sam Bradford, I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to mention Sam Bradford. It took the quarterback of the Eagles like 12 weeks to finally start clicking. So I think the future is still bright for Aguilar, and I think 203 is a steal for someone of his ilk. He could definitely turn it around in a more conventional offense, and the quarterback that's going to be thrown to him is the same, but that's a good thing, or it could be the same. Who knows what's going to happen there? But they lose J-Matt in the slot, Aguilar on the outside. I think brighter days are ahead for him.
Yeah, he's gonna have a hard time regressing.
Very true.
I just fell in love with his tape in college. I mean, if he's anywhere near the same guy, we're good to go. So I'm gonna forward 204. I'm gonna flip a coin. I'm gonna take my boy Jalen Strong, man. Why not? Something wasn't right there, man. Something wasn't right. I don't know what it was. He was not the same player. He was never a world beater, but he's better than what he showed. He's going to get some burn next year. Nate Washington and Cecil Shorts are not the answer, all right? They're just not. So, easy pick for me.
I can agree with that. And, I mean, you talk about him getting more run this year. I think it showed that, O'Brien was getting comfortable with him because he started getting more run at the end of this year. He was getting snaps, he was getting targets. Nothing insane, but it was enough to build his confidence and build the staff's confidence in him.
Yes.
Okay. Nothing, Adam?
No.
Okay. For my pick, I'm taking Amir Abdullah, and I was going to go Aguilar, but I didn't have to. I didn't have to be that guy. But give me Amir Abdullah. Joique Bell's still a turd. Theo Riddick might be a thing. He might not be a thing. Depends on what week it is. I hope he's not a thing, honestly. And as much as I have been a Theo Riddick nutcase, I think is the word for it, for him being such a low guy, Amir Abdullah has the best chance to really do solid work in that backfield. And he could probably produce pretty well. And he'll be incredibly useful for PPR. He'll give you a solid floor every week. And especially in the middle of the second, can't hate on that at all.
No, I can't hate on that at all, especially when I was in a rookie draft and he went at 104, I think. It was the day after he had that big preseason game, and some yokel took him at 104. So that happens. So this is a much better spot for him for now. I'm going to go with Duke Johnson, I think, at 206 here. I know you're a big Crowell fan, and I think he still has plenty of gas left in the tank. He had showed some flashes, but Duke Johnson for the way the NFL is trending and the way that team is, I think Duke Johnson's going to be a PPR machine. I think he's going to be very good week to week. He's probably going to have a pretty high floor just on the catches. And, I like him. That's my pick.
207, I don't know. It's 207. I'm going to take Devin Funchess. I'm going to take the big man. He's still so young. And he hadn't shrunk in the last year. He's playing on. Jesus Christ, who would have thought that Carolina would be this juggernaut on offense? Would have never seen that coming. So next year you look at Olsen, you look at obviously Benjamin will be back. Funchess is a receiving option. Things are looking better for him. Got a long way to go, but any risk is cooked in right here in the middle of the second round. So give me the big guy.
Yeah, I think the Funchess pick there is kind of easy because it drops off a decent bit after that one, and I'm all about Duke Johnson at this point because he's gonna have PPR value. They don't throw to Crowell for whatever reason. Some say he can't do it. I don't know. I don't know if I'm okay with that diagnosis, but why not even just bet on the possibility that Crowell fails for a mid-second? It's a pretty decent bet. Duke Johnson was not a terrible running back. He was pretty good, and it's probably why it killed me so much watching him go there because I was hoping he'd get to see some play, and then it's Trey Mason all over again.
I mean, Crow doesn't even have to falter for Duke to be a reliable PPR back.
Correct. But Duke being used as a reliable PPR back probably keeps Crow from succeeding.
I don't think Crow is.
I don't think there's volume for both of them to be the same level, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, 3 and outs aren't great for
a
dual-headed monster.
Yeah. Even with a normal, like, halfway offense, which is all they're going to have, there's not going to be near enough volume to sustain something like that. So I'm just going to move on to my pick, and it's a decent move down from here, but I think I'm going to go with I had my pick and I forgot it. I'm going to go with Jay Ajayi because if Miller leaves, that opens up the job to him, even though he will probably not be alone come the start of the regular season. As soon as Miller leaves in free agency, that value is going to shoot through the roof, and it's an immediate sell opportunity. If Miller stays, that sucks. But again, it's a risk of a late second round pick. At that point, I'm not really getting into my feelings about it.
Jay Ajayi, yeah, I think he was a value for Miami. He fell pretty far in the draft. I think we were actually all watching it together, and we were just kind of stunned. Do they bring someone else in? Probably. I don't know if his knees can handle a full workload, but he's definitely talented, so that's gonna be good for them. This is 209, I think. I'm gonna go with Carlos Williams. I think short term, I don't think his value is really going to change at all, and he's probably not going to see the field as much unless there's an injury to Shady. But Shady has a lot of carries. He's been around for a while, and he breaks down pretty easily. So I think that Carlos Williams may not have the best 2016 campaign, but his future is going to be super bright. I mean, he was pretty good at FSU. He's a tough runner, and he catches the ball really well and can take it to the house, and he showed it a few times. So 209, that's hard to beat.
I love it. I mean, on a per-touch basis for fantasy purposes, Cargoat is doing pretty well this year. I started him a bunch. 210, there's a bunch of turds, and then there's Marcus Mariota. I mean, this isn't even – I mean, why are y'all making me do this shit? Marcus Mariota would have been off the board by now. So you take the quarterback. You take the young quarterback, number 2 overall selection that's a starter for his offense. He's the best player left on the board by a good bit. I would have taken Carlos ahead of him. I would have taken Ajayi, all the guys that have gone ahead of him, but why not? I mean, I don't know if I would do this if I had already taken Jameis in the real draft, but I'm not picking every third pick in a real rookie draft, so the value is pretty smoking for a starter. You're getting a starter for your fantasy team.
We're at the same place here because if you didn't take him, I was gonna. It's all dried up, and I hate who's left. So that was the easy pick here at 210. It's not like you're throwing away a first-round pick like you did on Jameis.
Jameis or Matt Jones? Let me see. Get the heck. Come on. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. I started Tim Hightower and won a championship. Fuck running back. I said I wasn't going to do that this week, and you brought it out of me.
That's actually twice.
Oh, well, thank you.
It's all right.
We need Sticky here with us more regularly. He's like, nope.
I stick to the rules.
A little slap on the wrist.
I've definitely lapped you this week, though.
Oh, we're so awful.
Yeah. To all of you who listen and suffer through our language, we apologize if it hurts your feelings, but we don't want to censor our content just to make some people happy. We want to just put out the show that we do. That's fun for us.
This is how we talk to each other all day, right?
People curse all the time, everywhere, unless you're in Perkins. It's the only place you can curse.
I can barely form a look, I'm struggling right now. I can barely form a sentence when I'm not trying to edit myself. If I try to cut out the way I would normally speak to Drew and to Sticky, well then it'd be even worse. So
Yeah.
Train derailed.
And Perkins does have a perfect princess face. But where were we? Mariota.
That.
Nothing.
Oh, for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good pick. He's good. He's going to be very good. He did it all this year. He did it all. He ran, he threw. It's great. Can't beat it.
He did quarterback things.
Yeah, all the quarterback things.
I guess give me a coin flip because we're going to get flamed either way for the guys that we let fall. Oh, all these suck. Do I pick Tevin Coleman? Do I pick Philip Dorsett? All that can go to hell. I'm going to pick Clive Walford.
I love it.
That's what I was going to pick.
I love it.
He looked good his rookie season. That's really rare for tight ends. That's a good sign. He's super young. He's on a developing offense. Yep, give me Clive Walford.
I love Clive Walford. Yeah, he's good.
Clive's all man, dude. Clive's just like, what? Love him.
Tight ends, who cares? Just I'll take them all. Second year breakout. McHale, whatever Rivera, he's nothing. But for my pick, oh man, I don't even know here. I'll go with Tevin Coleman. I think he won the job in camp. That means something. I think he's still gonna have values. He in the one game that Freeman missed after Coleman came back from injury, he had like 6.4 yards per carry. He crushed it against the Vikings too, which is a pretty good defense. So I like his talent. It sucks that he's in a timeshare, but it is what it is. Not a bad pick, for this spot.
Yeah, I would have loved to have gotten him right here this time last year when we were rookie drafting at the back end of the second. So is that it? Was that 212?
That is 212.
It's 212.
And Philip Dorsett, the first-round wide receiver, is still on the board.
And Carl is rolling in his grave right now. Or not in his grave. He's not dead, but that's whatever sentence makes sense there. Let's see. How low did I have Tevin Coleman last preseason? Because I hated Tevin Coleman. Oh, he was my... Ooh.
He was in your second round. He had to be.
No, he was not. Yes, he was. Somehow he was in my second round. He was at my 23.
Yeah, he had to be. We still got like Langford is out there, Conley, Smelter.
Cobb.
Some nice plays on the Cobb.
Max Williams is out there.
Max Williams.
Trey McBride.
No.
Zach Zenner.
Exactly. There we go.
Zenner did not look bad when he played. He's
just so fucking white, dude. Come on. There is no good precedent there. I'm sorry. There just isn't.
There have been tons of good white presidents.
Did we take Strong?
Did I say president?
No.
No, he didn't.
There have also been a lot of bad ones, but whatever. maybe Zenner can be our proposed Anakin Skywalker. He can free us. He can balance it out, which means he's gonna kill all the other running backs.
I don't know how this works.
I don't know. This will probably get edited out because this is dumb. We'll see. We'll see how I feel when I edit.
Do we take Strong? Did someone take Jalen Strong?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Strong got taken.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just want to make
Not at 105 like I took him last year.
sure.
Yeah,
I'm okay
that
with that
happened.
still.
No regrets.
No regrets.
So many regrets.
All the regrets. There's a lot of guys from this class though that aren't worth anything right now that I would be stashing up on, getting me some. I'm not gonna say Devontae Davis,
No.
I
but
have him on a
Darren-
roster right now. I have
Go snag
Devontae
up
Davis
some,
on a roster.
Get me Darren Walford. Darren Waller. Ty Montgomery. Janice's one big game is distracted everybody. Go get some cheap Ty Montgomery. Aaron Payne's cheap. Trey McBride's cheap. There's some legit guys that can get for practically free that might turn into something worth something. But
Will there have been a single IDP out of last year's class that you would have taken in this top 24? Curveball.
yeah,
Fowler?
Dante Fowler.
Uh,
Fowler goes mid-second at latest for me. I'm taking Fowler over.
Where do you break it? Like right at like Funchess? I think that's probably about.
Yeah,
where
I think it's pretty close to right there. He might be over Funches for me,
Yeah.
but I was never.
So tough without like scoring whatever, but. And
Who went right before Funches? Who did you take, Adam?
I took. He took Duke at 206.
I'd take him over Duke too.
I think it's a good case in point, though. I mean, we're sitting here 2 rounds into, a year back reflecting on what this rookie draft did, and we're really all 3 of us kind of like, there's one IDP that I might have taken. It's a good way to look at it, though. It's a good way to look at it. Don't go burning your rookie picks on IDPs.
But at the same time, we also knew that this year's IDP class was going to be garbage. If we had done this with the 2014 class, Mosley, Shazier would have gone. Borland would have gone until he retired. Yeah, that sucks. But at least he's healthy. Ish.
He's healthy.
Stop. It hurts so bad.
But
It's been days since I thought of Borland. Had him on every freaking roster. All of them.
it's. I think it's just a symptom of this being an incredibly bad year for IDP. Landon Collins would have been at least my 212 in this class. I mean, Tevin Coleman's garbage.
Yeah.
Mariota's a QB, which is just as useless. It depends on the scoring.
Yeah,
Well,
scoring's
obviously.
big. I mean, I like Anthony. I
I
thought he.
like him too.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the scoring though. I mean, if it's a high tackle, I'd probably take Anthony over Walford. I mean, honestly, and at the end of the second, somebody you know is going to be good.
Yeah, it gets real jumbled around that 210 spot once you introduce like Anthony. Alexander's not quite that high, but he's not that far behind for me. But we'll save. Actually, this is really the perfect time to transition into our first submitted question. Comes from our buddy at Jan Swanson. He says, sophomore linebackers and our thoughts on them. Kendricks, Anthony, Hicks, Perryman, McKinney, and even Rameek Wilson, Paul Dawson, Jake Ryan, Shaq Thompson, and Quan Alexander. So, a lot of guys, and it's actually crazy how many legit potential guys ended up coming out of this class, considering every time we looked at it, like, look at that flaming turd. But, I wouldn't be mad having Jake Ryan on a roster right now. And I'm not, chalking him up as a starter, but there's potential there. If I got Shaq Thompson, I'm stoked. Thomas Davis is clearly not long for this world, and I think Shaq's gonna step right up and do some work. Uh, I'll be honest, I haven't watched enough of Perryman or McKinney to tell you how they transitioned. I wasn't high on them coming out, and a lot of that was Tyler's influence. But I didn't keep up because I was just not excited about them. Hicks is... Tyler's right. Hicks is fucking good.
Yes, very good.
Hicks is real good. So that's some kind of how I'm feeling on some of these guys.
Yeah, I mean, I would elevate Shaq Thompson and Quan into that first group. In fact, I put them both ahead of Perryman and McKinney. Perryman came on, man. There are a lot of things I didn't like about Perryman. There was some stuff that I did like. I liked his aggression. I liked that he's a heavy hitter. I didn't like the way he diagnosed plays, and I still don't love it, but he came on and played pretty well. McKinney's a two-down thumper, man. I mean, I watched a lot of Houston, and that's just who he is. And he's a good one at that, but it's not a great IDP play. Anthony's head of the class for me. He's the one I'm taking first. I'm probably taking Kendrick second, and then Hicks kind of scares me because of the situation. That was a total clusterfuck in Philly this year. You just didn't know what was going to happen, and they're all three still there, and now they're transitioning to a 4-3, and there's this guy named Connor Barwin who will just be, if they decide to roll that Sam into like an underset and move him up to the line of scrimmage, he'll be one of the better 4-3 Sams you'll see. So we've got two spots for three guys, one of whom is Kiko Alonso, who isn't all that great. Michael Kendrick's the freak athlete, and what do you do with Hicks? So that one's kind of scary. Ramik, I love having Ramik stashed on a roster. Love having him stashed on a roster because Derek Johnson is old, and Josh Maga is bad. So, I mean, there's definite opportunity there. And then Paul Dawson, just hold him, see what happens. I don't know, man. I'm ready to take the L on that one, if I have to, but only if I have to.
Yeah, I have to agree with you guys most of the way there. Kendrick's definitely, I think he was the first linebacker of most people's boards, and he definitely faltered a lot. He was banged up a little bit, I think, but he probably had the most starts outside of Anthony and Hicks, probably because also due to injuries. But I think he's maybe second or third now in this class, and I mean, he could turn it around. It's a good defense to be in, but good defenses mean less tackles when you're surrounded by great players. I love Anthony. Hicks, yeah. I think in a perfect world, if I was the coach, I'd put Hicks in the middle. Kendricks is the weak, and Kiko and Connor Barwin in the Sam, and I don't know. It's going to be crazy what they decide to do, and everyone's got multiple years now. It's going to be very interesting to see what goes down there with if they use that wide 9 or whatever that craziness is. McKinney, definitely a thumper. Good to have. Wilson, he had like 11% of the snaps, something like that. He just needs those guys to get old, which is what he's waiting on. Jake Ryan, I love. And Quan, I think Quan needs to be way higher. I'm super high on Quan.
Forgot about Quan.
Yeah, I mean Quan.
A little bit.
I have Quan at like 12. I mean, I think Quan's going to be a beast in high tackle leagues. You know, he's not going to put up crazy numbers, like you get from David, but I think he's going to be very productive as like an LB2, which is awesome.
That gets you 6, 7, 8 tackles a week. That's all you need.
That's all you need. So, yeah, I mean, the problem with linebackers is they move around so much. You get new guys coming in every year, so it's kind of tough to pick out who's going to be good for a long time, and I think some of these guys have some staying power.
Yeah, I like Quan a lot. I don't know if I'm putting him at 12, but I absolutely agree. He deserves to be in the same company as Anthony, Shaq Thompson, and if we're believing what we saw and not really worrying about situation, Hicks fits in there for me too. And then Kendricks is like a half a step below that, and I wasn't all that excited about Kendricks. I liked him just fine, but The only reason I'm that big on Anthony is because he really just went balls to the wall. I wasn't super excited about him coming out either.
He's very good.
Yes.
He's very good and very aggressive.
Oh yeah.
He'll hit anything that moves.
He probably has the best situation out of most of these guys because there's not, I mean, there's not much else. His rookie year, he played 93% of the snaps.
Yeah, there's not many people racking up tackles. A lot of corners getting tackles, if that tells you anything.
That's not good.
I think, Browner and... No, who started it? No, because Allen... I can't think who started at number 3.
What kind of fan are you?
A terrible one, apparently. Forget that. But our 2 and 3 corners, when Keenan was out, were both like top 10 corners for IDP scoring.
Oh, bro.
Delvin Bro. That, yeah.
I streamed him a few times.
I
don't
know why that name didn't come to me.
All right, let's move on. Next one comes to us from our buddy Luke Bisson, who is the commissioner of the Iron Throne League. That league I referred to earlier, the one where I have Tyler Lockett and the crazy return yard scoring. This league is cool. It's 12-team, 2 QB. Really neat league. His question, in a 10-team Dynasty league, non-PPR, I could start up to 5 wide receivers. I gave the 16-105, the 16-110, Jimmy Graham and Kendall Wright, and I got Allen Robinson. He also said this makes his starting 5 wide receivers: Nuke, A-Rob, Keenan, Michael Floyd, and Kevin White or Josh Gordon. Well, crap. That's a great trade. That's a good example. I'm going to give you a bunch of pieces, and I'm going to get a superstar because Allen Robinson's a superstar. The 105 is still a nice pick. It's a premium pick. 110 is worth, what, percentage-wise of the 105? 50%? Jimmy Graham is dead, and Kendall Wright is a hack. So that's a beautiful trade. That wide receiver core is absolutely sick. PPR, non-PPR, I don't care. That is bonkers. So beautiful. That's how you upgrade your team.
Yeah, this is sort of a humble brag trade for me. Non-PPR, don't really know what that's about. I'm not sure is that still a thing, concept? I don't know. Non-PPR? Give me half. Give me something. But, yeah, Jimmy Graham, is he worth a third right now? I mean, you don't even need to add him on there, really. Patella tendon, tear, whatever, and that Allen Robinson for that. It's pretty good. 110, I have a lot of 110s. So I've definitely been looking at that spot, and it's okay. This is a slam dunk. Slam dunk, like, crushing the league.
Yeah, if this hadn't come from Luke and I didn't know who it was, I definitely would have thought this was a humble brag. It's that much of a win. You could have taken that 2016 110 and turned it into the 2016 101, and that's still a slam dunk in my opinion. That's killer. There's not a whole lot else to say about it. Have fun wrecking your league mates for a few more years. Let's move on to our next one from at SPG 1780. We know him as Crabman or Crab Person. Now I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He's wanting to be referred to as Crab Person. Who is the biggest violator of Voxer etiquette, and am I the only one who cares about the rules? Well, for those of you who don't know about Voxer, it's an app. You can create groups. It's a walkie-talkie. It's fantastic. And honestly, we mostly just use it to curse at each other. But Pat recalls messages and hides what he says. And that's a violation. That's a violation of trust. It's a violation of the sanctity of the group, and it should not be allowed. And you are the only one that cares about the rules. I don't care.
I don't know, there's some cross-voxing pollination going on. Tim is guilty of the cross-voxing, but sometimes the cross-voxing is necessary because a vox is so much fire that you just got to share it with everybody. Waz has been recalling a bunch of messages lately. That's not cool. I'd say the recalling of messages is the worst thing. That's the number one violation that you can commit.
I like the rules as more of a framework, and I only apply them to other people. I'll crossvox, I'll recall messages, but you're not allowed to. So that's how I feel about it. I definitely agree with Tim. Tim is a crossvox machine. I think he's the original breaker of the rule. Good old Tim Smith.
I view the boxer etiquette rules much like I view the law, that it should apply to other people. But to me, it's iffy. Depends on how I feel in the day. But I don't care about crossboxing. Do whatever you want to do. Don't delete messages. Because crossboxing, as long as it's going to another group that is within the circle of trust, then you are okay. Do not break the circle of trust. It is sacred. The Voxer circle of trust is everything.
And what happens in Boxer stays in Boxer, right?
Definitely.
Damn right.
All right, next question comes from @BigFatBob on Twitter. Big supporter of the show. Cool guy, great follow.
Great Twitter handle.
Oh, it's a Big Fat Bob? Who didn't like that? That's amazing. With a 38-man roster, looks like they start the standard on offense: 1 QB, 2 running back, 3 wide out, 1 tight end, 2 flex. Then on defense, 2 D linemen, 2 linebackers, 2 DBs, and 1 D flex. How do you recommend, how many players per position do we recommend on the roster? He always finds he has too many linebackers or defensive backs and is short on flyer offensive players. I have the same issue in all my leagues, really. I have the same issue in all my leagues. I'm a linebacker hoarder. But, Sticky, take this one. That way you get to start off with some original thought before we all just regurgitate the same thing.
I don't know if I have any original thoughts, but I'll try. I always have too many linebackers because they can kind of come out of nowhere, and you can kind of just pick them up off the waiver. I think these starting, for me at least, maybe I'm a hater, but it's a little light on the starters, from what I'm used to at least. It's okay. I mean, it's definitely not ideal. So if you're holding 6 linebackers, maybe, I think you're at a good number, because then you kind of have your starters and you have maybe 7, because you get a prospect guy in there. Depending on scoring, you might be able to get away with streaming a few guys in and out here, but I don't think there's a problem with holding too many guys over offensive players. It depends on the quality of the player. If you're holding on to like Devontae Davis, like you said, who's a free agent, maybe it's better to hold on to a Jake Ryan or something like that, like we talked about before, someone who's not getting time but could in the future. So I think that's what comes down for me. DBs, I wouldn't hold that many, just because you can just take them out and put them in like anything else. So it's pretty easy for me.
Yeah. Defensive back, I'm holding 2, maybe 3, if I have some studs. If you're only starting 2, I'm just not really worried about it now in leagues where you're starting 4, the game changes at defensive back. But with only starting 2, yeah, I'm not messing with it. Linebackers, I don't know, 6, 7 almost seems too much. But like Sticky said, it all depends on the quality of player. If DeAndre Levy is your LB6, you're not dropping him, so you're just going to roll with it. And they don't carry crap value on the trade market. It's terrible on the trade market. So, yeah, I'm going to go about like that. Defensive line, give me 4 or 5, and that's about it. Everything else is going to go to offense. So I'm going to devote just a small percentage of my roster to defense with these lineup settings.
Completely agree. And for me, besides the DBs, I'm not going to focus too much on how many D-line, how many linebackers you're holding. I'm going to let however the roster plays out, just fill it in. And in general, I'm just going to keep a cap on how many defensive players I'm holding as a whole. let's call it 16. You subtract 3 from that for your DBs. That leaves you with 13 between your D line and your linebackers. 16 even is probably too high, to be honest. But I wouldn't go any higher than 16, and 16 is super generous. That's 6 D line, 7 linebackers. You don't need that. I would probably shoot for like 12. Give yourself 6 and 6 or something like that. Yeah, 5 and 4. I wouldn't be mad about that because if it's that shallow, there's going to be replacement options on the waiver wire, even come bye weeks and stuff. And I'd want to stock up on offense because those, having the difference makers there is what's going to make you the money.
Yeah, I'm in a league that's, I think we have a 26-man roster, and we start the same IDP lineup positions. And if I'm holding more than 4 guys, 4 linebackers, I'm killing myself. But when you get up to 38, I think you can hold a little bit more. But for me, it's just so tough. If somebody gets injured, like I had Ogletree, he was out before he went on IR. I was holding him, and it was just kind of a waste of a roster spot.
Yeah, let's talk about linebackers that could be a waste of a roster spot with our next question. Comes from @Carp57, buddy of ours from the No Position Left Behind group.
The king of wrestling GIFs. The king of wrestling GIFs.
It's a GIF.
It's giraffe. It's
I do not care. It is a GIF. We will fight.
I'm going to let it go because this could be a long thing.
Oh, I know that the creator of the format calls it a GIF, but he's wrong. So, can you guys elaborate on the IDP outlook for Keenan Robinson, Nigel Bradham, and Gerald Hodges? All 3 of these guys have been either solid IDP producers at different points, and in the case of Hodges, an up-and-coming prospect with the arrow pointing up. If San Fran does not address linebacker in the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft, will Hodges be a player that we should all be buying on the cheap? Hodges, for free, I'll take him, sure. But other than that, I'm not that interested. I think he's still going to be pretty far back in line for tackles. He's going to be behind Lynch. Safeties are probably going to be eating tackles from him. He's not a guy I'd be looking at really at all with high expectations. Keenan Robinson I'm of the opinion that whatever injury he had, it sapped something from his season because he didn't look the same as he did last year. This is a guy I had right about at linebacker 1 rankings. And then he just completely shit the bed. So that's an anomaly to me. I'm willing to take a shot and see if that resets. And I'm not going to say anything about Nigel Bradham because I'm going to let Tyler say all of it.
All right, Nigel's a solid hold for me. The defense was kind of funky last year. They ran some weird sets with Lawson, and Preston Brown is just a stiff. He's just a stiff. So Nigel's a solid hold. He's the clear leader of this bunch of 3 for me. Keenan, I had him at exactly LB12 last year. That was a mistake. Whether he was hurt or not, he played like crap. Absolute crap. Just awful. So that hurts. As a Longhorn fan, as a Keenan Robinson fan, as a guy that pumped him up, it hurts. It was a big miss for me. Hodges is a 2-down linebacker to me. He's fine to have on your roster, especially in these deep leagues. But like Drew said, I'm not knocking anybody over to go get him. If I've got him, if I'm starting 4 or 5 linebackers every week and I'm carrying 12 and Gerald Hodges is one of them, I'm pretty cool with that. But I'm certainly not expecting anything major, maybe outside of a spot start here or there from him.
Tyler, let me ask you, because Bradham is a free agent, and they have no money. Like, they owe money right now. The Bills, that is. So do you think, does he move much for you if he goes to a different spot, or?
At first I didn't even know that, but of course, I mean, it could really matter where he goes, but he's such a good athlete that if anybody that signs him, he's going to be a starter for them. A lot of it's going to be scheme dependent. I mean, I want to see him in a 4-3. I think he can play the will in a 4-3. That's not necessarily how they use him, but he was hurt. He was banged up this year. I mean, I don't know how many games he played. It wasn't very many, but Nigel Bradham's still he's a solid LB2 for me. Top 24, 28 linebacker somewhere in there.
Yeah, thanks for clearing that up. I don't really know much about him, so I figured I'd let somebody who probably knew a little more. Yeah, Keenan let me down a little bit. I have him pretty high. I have him on a lot of leagues. So we'll see if he can turn it around. I still like him. Probably get him for kind of cheap.
You get him real cheap.
Yeah, real cheap right now. And Hodges, I don't know if I really see him as a buy. I kind of like Willite, however you pronounce his name.
Will Hoyt.
Will Hoyt. He had a lot of playing time, and I think he's somebody that flew under the radar a lot. I missed the end of the season, but he was a great LB3 on a lot of my teams, and he was putting up good tackle numbers. So, not bad.
I didn't even realize that Bradham was going to be a free agent this year. I guess I just don't track the defense as much as I do on the offense for contracts and whatnot. And that definitely, that's got to give him somewhat of a bump. But it doesn't move the needle for me a whole lot because he loses the advantage of having that Buffalo stat crew if it all did balance out that defense. So he's probably staying somewhere for me, and I'm not quite as high as y'all are. I think I'm right about 30, maybe a little bit farther back than that, but I haven't messed with it enough to tell you exactly where I've got him. And Gerald Hodges, just like a side note on him, even like the guys you were taking flyers on in Minnesota, not this year but last year, he wasn't even the guy I was taking there. I would have rather had Audie Cole and taken a shot on him again. And we all saw how that turned out, so I'm not feeling a whole lot better about Hodges.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at on him. He's just kind of a guy.
Wasn't Audie Cole like a borderline LB1 that year? 1 year.
He had a pretty good year. Well, it's been a couple now. I mean, it's like just weird.
In 2013 maybe.
Yeah, LB is just so weird. Guys pop up and fade, and it can be quite difficult to track. And then you'll find some superstars on the wire every year. Anyway, next question. Time to get derailed for my brother Brady at B_hug, one of the Couch Coach writers. Here we go. I feel comfortable with your candy takes, and that's good. He's comfortable with our judgment there. I think it is time to dip our toes into the baked goods arena. We're going to start with cinnamon rolls. I'll give my take, and then I want to hear your takes. Brady likes the cinnamon rolls undercooked, approximately 65% of the total baking time. Give me a fully cooked cinnamon roll, and I'll give you a big old plate of dead to me. Also, give me orange Danish cinnamon rolls over all other cinnamon rolls. The orange Danish cinnamon rolls, that's spot on. They're the best things ever. They're amazing. And I'm right in lockstep here. This is my little brother. This is what we grew up eating. Gooey orange cinnamon rolls. Anything else, no good. It's all about the center. And why is the center the best part? Because it's gooey.
I'm not going to fight you on the cooked part. I don't know that I'm going 65% low, but there should be zero crunch in my cinnamon roll at all. I want it to be cooked enough to where I'm not looking at it thinking that might be raw dough. But I want it to be close enough. But get the hell out of here with this orange Danish nonsense. It is and always will be cream cheese cinnamon rolls, whatever it's called. I don't know what the cream is called. The normal stuff. What normal people eat. The good stuff. Just because you're from Texas and you're a Texas fan doesn't mean you have to put orange on everything. It's bad.
Have you tried them? Are you knocking something you haven't tried? You are, aren't you?
I am.
Go to the grocery store. I'm serious. The cinnamon roll is it's a normal cinnamon roll, but the icing, the glaze has like orange flavor to it. It's a game changer, dude.
That does not sound appealing to me, because I like a normal cinnamon roll. I already like the good stuff. Why would I risk it on something that's probably going to be bad?
I love a normal cinnamon roll. I got no problem with the Grand Cinnabon cinnamon rolls. I will crush those things. Just, you got to do this for me. You got to try them and report back.
For you, I will do this.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm being very quiet because, to tell you the truth, I've maybe eaten one cinnamon roll my entire life.
Get the
Jesus
hell out of
Christ!
here. What are you doing here?
It's just not something I ever ate, really. It's too sweet for me, I think. And I like orange, and I like the color, and I like the flavor, but I don't think I've ever even heard of an orange cinnamon roll. So maybe it's not, because I'm not from the South. Florida doesn't count as the South. It's the North of the South.
He said too sweet. Too sweet.
Too sweet.
I heard those words in conjunction with one another.
What is that? What even is that?
But I definitely will say that undercooked baked goods are very good. And there's definitely a limit. It's good. But, I mean, give me a scone. Give me, like, a nice, like, cannoli. Does that even count as a baked good? I don't know.
What words are you saying?
It's just it's different, you know? It's what I grew up on. It's when I eat when I go. I don't eat that much baked goods. I don't know. I like my bread in a hoagie form.
We got to get out of the
You
South.
keep making up words. It's like 3 in 2 sentences. Not a brownie or.
Oh, brownie's good. I don't like cake.
Jesus Christ.
Unless it's ice cream cake. It's the only cake I like.
All right, that's semi-redeemable.
We will allow you to stay, but I'm not going to be happy about it.
Cookie cake's good.
Cookie cake's good. Carrot cake is good.
Yeah,
Every cake.
Carrot cake. Oh, that's my 101 of cakes.
Yeah, I have to agree there.
Carrot. That's how good cake is. You can take something great, cake, and a shitty thing like a vegetable, put it together, still great.
I feel like we know more about sticky than I didn't need to know those things.
Yeah, this has ruined our friendship.
I feel like I let you guys down a lot. I should have just lied.
Crabman would say he's so disappointed right now.
I can't even right now.
Well, you have a better view of my psyche. I think that's what's important.
I'm like sad now.
I want to ship you baked goods.
I'll eat them.
Doesn't sound like it.
What if they're too sweet? You ought to have some. I mean, Drew knows sweet tea. Have you ever had some sweet tea? Like rot your teeth out on Impact sweet tea?
I have. I've had extra sweet tea.
All right.
No. Extra sweet tea in the North is not necessarily what regular sweet tea is here. Like, I think what is it like? Big old pot is a pound of sugar used for it.
Yeah. Entirely too much.
Oh yeah, like there's absolutely no reason to do it, but we still do it.
Just sugar water.
Yeah, it's brown Kool-Aid. It's exactly what it is, and it's fantastic.
Best shit ever.
All right, let's get back on track. These next questions come from the Reddit group, and the first one comes from Ruling Pandora. With the news of Calvin's retirement, what does this do for the value of the Detroit offense? And I'm going to segue this into another submitted question from Latios47. Can Golden Tate be a wide receiver 1, or is it more like a Randall Cobb situation that he works better as a 2? First of all, I think this is great for Ebron. Easy call. It's essentially making him the second, maybe the third option if they use Abdullah in the passing game. They'll probably bring somebody in as wide receiver, but the fact that Ebron has some established rapport with Stafford at this point is gonna do a ton for him. Tate's gonna do really good. Tate is gonna do really good for a couple of years, guaranteed. I say that, but I'm basing it off of one season of like a 9-game stretch, which was enough for me to deem OBJ, king of the world. So I'm not above making large calls on nonsense. But I'm a little bit hesitant about Tate. I almost wouldn't be selling him right now if I had any chance of competing, because the value he's going to provide to your team, if he does well, is going to be so much more than what you might be able to sell him for.
Yeah, I liked Tate last year. I thought he was a good buy. He was good. I thought he could be a nice wide receiver too for your team. So this is great for him. I guess it was last year or 2 years ago now, 2014 season, where he had a great year with Calvin on the field and Calvin off the field. So it showcased that he doesn't need Calvin to be productive. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but he definitely had a nice stretch with Calvin when he was injured. So I think I don't think you're gonna be able to buy him. I think he's gonna be super expensive. If you have him, you might as well use him unless you're trying to do a little rebuild or you have a lot of wide receiver talent. So I'm happy about it. I think he's gonna be the main beneficiary. He gets a little more of the coverage, but he did it without Calvin before. So I definitely like the Ebron call. I mean, I was all about Ebron when he was drafted, so I'm happy about it. Finally, maybe, probably not, but maybe.
I mean, he'll do tight end things. He'll progress. I can't imagine his stat line isn't better next year, especially if Calvin's gone. But Golden Tate for me is, man, I like Golden Tate a lot. And when you're looking at dynasty values, guys that aren't 23, 24 years old, but also aren't 31, 32 years old, Golden Tate might be the best buy in that range of guys that has the potential to be a 1. I'm pretty sure he was a 1 in 14. I think he caught like 96 balls. And I don't know how many he caught this last year. It had to be 80-ish. He didn't do shit with them. I mean, he was less efficient, on yards per target than just about anybody. But I don't want to call him a stud, but he is a damn good football player and a fine dynasty asset. And like Drew said, he's worth more to your roster than he is on the trade market, almost definitely. I tried to make a late season push for one of Drew's shares of Golden Tate. He wasn't feeling it. He swatted me away. I was coming in low. I didn't want to pay shit for him, and he swatted it away, and so be it.
I think the funniest thing about all of this is I don't think we discussed Tate at all during the last offseason, and we both stocked up on him. Just by chance. I had maybe a share of Tate going into last offseason, and I finished it with probably 6 or 7. Just because you would think his price would have gone up after a solid 14 showing, but it barely moved the needle with people. And that's an example of stuff I'm trying to find and capitalize on, where we see really good things from players, or we see, enough of a concerning thing with players, but their value's not changing at all. So, that's more of a general thing, but I like Ebron a lot now, especially compared to how he was valued as a rookie. I was not touching him as a rookie because he was going in the first round full of a class that, even then we knew that it was full of talent. And people were trying to take Ebron at, 105 to 109, and I just wasn't about that. Even the fact that I liked ASJ more, pushing that aside, just not taking Ebron in the first round. I'm not doing it in really any draft. So, at his price now, though, it's way more reasonable. The 105 for a tight end is essentially paying for like the tight end 2 without ever stepping on the field, and that was a little crazy to me.
Yeah, I bought him for a 109, I think. I had like 5 picks in the first round, so I basically rebuilt my team for a few years. But Golden Tate, he had 90 catches in 2015. That was 10th best, and Calvin played every game, didn't he? This past year.
Good Lord, 90?
90, 10th.
For what, like 80 yards?
He had like like 85 yards, something. I think he had like 800. But anyway, definitely going to be very good without the old Megatron.
He went like the first 13 or 14 weeks of the season with like 2 touchdowns. I don't remember where I read that, but I read it recently. And then he evened it out with like 4 in the last couple of weeks to give him, 6 touchdowns for the season to kind of even it out. But his touchdown rate was garbage this year, and I'm not concerned about it without Calvin, but with Calvin, or if they bring in, a day 2 wide receiver that might steal some red zone looks from him, it would be a little bit concerning.
Yeah, his sizes. I mean, he's 5'11", so you could bring in like a 6'3", 6'4" guy. That's day 2, whatever, day 3, and he could push the field just by being that sort of threat.
Yeah, and let's finish this whole Lions topic up with the question from Kid Cash. It says, with so many players retiring and unretiring, is it worth sending a late round pick for Calvin Johnson in case he doesn't retire? And I think Tyler and I hit on this last week, but I think I'm comfortable sending somewhere like the late third, maybe the mid third for him at this point. At that point, it's a reasonable gamble. If it pays off, you get another year of Calvin. If it blows up in your face, there was still a greater than 50% chance that the third round pick was going to blow up in your face anyways. So at that point, it's the expected value of that risk has got to be a wash at best, at worst.
Yeah, I was that guy. I sent out fourths to a lot of people, and I play in pretty high level leagues. Not like saying anything, but if you're in a league with, your neighbor and the guy who delivers your dry cleaning, you could probably wrestle Calvin away from them for a fourth. But I feel like if he's on your roster, I'd probably just keep him. I think he's going to be, if he comes back, if he doesn't come back, it's going to be almost better than a 4th round pick. 3rd round pick, maybe not. Depends how you feel. I'd probably keep Calvin at that rate as well, just because he might come back. But from what I've heard from Lions fans and people who are in the know, or say that they're in the know, is he's done. I mean, it's unlikely for him to be using this as leverage, against the team, which is the only feasible thing because he's contracted through 2018, I think, through 2018. So for him to go to another team, they would have to cut him, which why would they cut him? If he goes on the retired list, they don't pay him as much money. I don't really know all the specifics, but I think he's probably done, so taking a pick might be better.
Yes, I agree.
Honestly, I think that you'd have a harder time sending a third for Calvin in that home league with a bunch of, schmucks than you would in an expert league or even a higher level league. Because the schmucks just hear Calvin Johnson. They think Megatron. They're like, no way, I can't trade Megatron for a third because I'm in a league with a guy like that where he keeps trying to send me Tom Brady for Mike Evans or Tom Brady for 103 and the 104 because it's Tom Brady. And obviously not everybody's like that, but there are still those people out there. Whereas, the higher level leagues, there are going to be people who have Calvin Johnson on a roster and they're like, I got to blow this up. I can get a 3rd round pick. I can work with that. That's ammo to do something with. Take them. That frees up a roster spot for another flyer. I'm all about it. Bye. So I can actually see it more in that situation. But either way, I agree. I'm not moving Calvin for less than an early 3rd. And we'll finish up our submitted questions with a shot from @FantasyOutlaw, who's done a lot of good work in the Dynasty space. He says, give us a few players who nobody is talking about for 2016, but should, IDP included. To be honest, I don't know who people are talking about a lot, but I assume Keenan Allen's not getting enough love because he he's going to be a wide receiver 1 or right around there. Kevin White is still not really looked that highly upon. I don't know. What do y'all got? I got to think a little bit.
We talked about Duke Johnson earlier. That's another guy that's getting kind of glazed over. You can get him deep. Melvin Gordon is another good one. How about Charles Sims in Tampa?
I almost said him.
On the IDP side, guys had a down year. Robert Quinn, the headliner. I mean, Robert Quinn hadn't done shit. You know what I mean? I bet you could get him for a hell of a lot less than who he is and what he's worth. Yep, not a lot going on, swirling in my brain here. How about my boy Aaron Williams in Buffalo? Talk about way off the radar. This dude is way off the radar. He went out, Corey Graham lit up the world, but when you looked at Aaron Williams when he played really well. That's a safety you could go get off the waiver wire right now. So I'm drawing a lot of blanks, but that's a handful of guys right there.
I think Randy Gregory's probably a good shot too. He's probably going way cheaper than he should be. But Adam, I cut you off. What do you got, man?
Oh no, I was just gonna say that's a pretty good list. For offense, Jalen Strong. I know we touched on him in the rookie draft, the redraft that we did. Who is not getting? Chris Ivory. I mean, people are leaving him for dead. I mean, I've seen him drop and drop and drop in a lot of leagues. A lot of mock drafts I'm doing. There's just so many guys that are moving around different teams. It's hard to see. I think Yeldon is obviously people know about him, but I think nobody's really talking about him. I mean, he's not someone you see in trades, on Dynasty trades. He's not somebody that you really think about too much. I think he's going to be the beneficiary of some touchdown regression from the Jags. I mean, Blake's not going to throw 35 next year. They're going to run some. I think he's going to be good. Defensively, yeah, it's a little tougher. I mean, there's a lot of injured guys that could come back around. Some free agents that might get some pull. I have Sean Lee lower than I should. He's a guy that can always put up points before he gets injured. Anybody who you don't hear people talking about, you look at the ADP and they're just way lower than they should be. Those are the guys you want to look at getting for cheap.
I think the number one guy on my list for that would be Carlos Hyde, who he's not getting any love right now, and he's got top 5 RB potential for next year.
Yeah, I mean, he's outside of a lot of top 10s at running back, which is just bonkers to me. Same with Yeldon. I like how Sticky until he gets hurt, it's an inevitability until Sean Lee gets hurt. How about DeAndre Levy? Here's a guy, I think he's going to be 28 or 29, so he's older.
29 might be going on 30.
All right, so he was hurt, but he's got a sweet beard, and the dude is a great athlete who can rack up tackles and is completely off the radar because he didn't play all year and he's older. You get DeAndre Levy, go make a championship push next year. I bet you get him for third-round rookie pick right now. Not from me, but from people.
But yeah, I love the Robert Quinn pick too. I think even our buddy B, who does a bunch of killer work over at Fake Pigskin, he dropped him down to like the 3rd tier of his D lineman. And granted, Watt was tier 1, and then there was a chunk of like 3 for tier 2. But that's still, that's DL 5 or 6. And it's not an unpopular thought. And to me, it's still psychotic. Because Quinn has been the only D lineman capable of keeping up with Watt. He outscored Watt on a 20-sack year for Watt. That's it's pretty damn good. And he's the only one that has that much potential, I think. And this is coming from a guy who loves Ziggy. Ziggy's his name tag should have just said upside when you were drafting him. But he doesn't have that much upside. It's injuries. Injuries robbed it from him. He's going to come back, and he's going to do work. Yeah, Aaron Donald's there too. Aaron Donald's going to rack up stats. But that also means they're going to be double teaming Donald a good bit of the time, and Quinn's going to get more work. It'll balance out.
Yeah, it's a discount. If you can get any discount on elite players, and you stick your nose in there and see what you can get, and there ain't no bones about it. Quinn is elite. There are reasons to be concerned, but like I said, if you can go trade, another defensive lineman plus a little bit, if you can go trade Olivier Vernon and a third-round rookie pick for Robert Quinn, do it. Deals like that. If you can make, a small little upgrade or throw in a small piece to make what could be a massive upgrade, go do it. It's like, remember when Julio broke his damn foot a couple years back? You could get elite Julio on a discount. It's a similar kind of deal. So, yeah, I'm going to go, well, shit, I own Robert Quinn in a lot of spots. I'm going to put some feelers out for Robert Quinn. I need to have him on my rosters.
All right, so it's about time for us to wrap it up, and because we have a special guest, they get to have the rant of the week. Adam, why don't you tell us how you feel about punctuation?
Oh, all right. Well, I wasn't prepared for that, but
if you got a better idea,
no, this is good.
Swing it
This is
at
very
me.
good. No, this is very good. The way I feel about punctuation is there's a standard of how you're supposed to do it, and the way you're supposed to do it is you put the punctuation right after your word. That way, it kind of flows. It's not like you're saying "hey" with an exclamation point as opposed to "hey" and then like nothing because there's a space there and it just kind of dies off. So what you really want to do when you're talking about punctuation is you have the word and then you have the punctuation at the end, whether it's a question mark, period, a semicolon, exclamation point. You really don't want to break it up too much because then you're not making any sense. And if there's a setting on your phone that when you hit space twice, and it puts the punctuation at the end, you want to leave that on. You don't want to change that because it's doing it for your benefit. It's doing it for you to help you out with how to speak English. So if any of you looking at your phone and when you tweet or when you send text messages to people and there's a space in between the word and the punctuation, you're doing it wrong, and you need to do it right. And that's my rant.
That's right, Adam. You tell them.
I'm going to tell them. I'm going to tell them all day.
That was a good rant.
All right, so it's about time for us to wrap it up this week. Adam, why don't you tell them about what work you're doing over at DLF and possibly on the subreddit right now?
Yes. So DLF, I'm doing IDP ranks, 2 quarterback ranks, and they're pretty fresh. I basically just kind of threw them together, so if you want to check them out, you know where to get them, dynastyleaguefootball.com, and I just put out a time capsule on the Atlanta Falcons, which is a pretty good read. It's like a recap. And then I have a Leonte Carew 2020 article. You get 20 facts on Carew, who I wish I wasn't talking about him right now because he's somebody that I want to snag in basically every league. He's going to be a star. And the subreddit, check it out. It's reddit.com/r/Dynasty Fantasy Football, Dynasty FF. It's kind of it needs your help. We're getting bigger and we need some good takes in there. We do mock drafts, we do player discussions. It's really fun. So come check it out.
Yeah. So with that, I'm about ready to call it a night. Tyler, you got any last parting shots for us, bud?
Not really, man. Yeah, check out Sticky's work, dude. Sticky is doing work out there. He's doing 2 QBs, doing the IDPs, got it all going. Check him out at DLF. And for God's sake, follow him on Twitter. Why does Sticky not have 2,000 followers at this point? It's kind of bonkers. At AdamTZ, follow the man for lukewarm takes and cinnamon roll hating.
I mean,
I don't even know if I can advise a follow after the cinnamon roll take.
I might have to change my name. I don't know if I want that to follow me around.
Yeah, you might want to go into witness protection. We know about you. But what Tyler said, absolutely. Follow him. Give his work a look. Check out his ranks. They're pretty well informed. He may have terrible baked good takes, but he tends to know a decent bit about football. And Also, go ahead and I've been putting out a couple of articles on UTH about some of the rookie defensive players that are coming out. So if you're interested in hearing my take and at JoJo Mac's take on it, take a look there. Other than that, we're gonna call it a night. Remember, you can find the show on iTunes, on Stitcher, and it's also hosted on ffcouchcoach.com. If you would like to submit a question to us or a topic for next week's show, or a prospect you'd like us to take a look at, you can send it to us on Twitter through a DM. You can send it through a PM on Reddit, or you can take it to ffcouchcoach.com in the subreddit. In the podcast section, there is a form where you can post your questions, and it stores them right for us. It's super neat, and I have no idea how it works, but it does it. So
it's just Coach. It's the Couch Coach doing his like voodoo magic thing, and that's where we got most of our questions today for the show, which is awesome. And thank you guys very, very much for submitting the questions via that platform.
Yeah, what Tyler's. I mean, thank you guys so much for supporting the show with your questions, and thanks so much for listening. For the last 2 weeks, in the first time of the history of the show, we broke 600 listens on each episode, which, granted, doesn't sound like a ton, but for us, it's a milestone, so I'll take it. So for everybody that's been listening, you're awesome. Come back and see us next week. This has been the Dynasty Playbook. Not sure what I was going to say here. This has been the Dynasty Playbook. I'm tired. I'm going to bed. My name's Drew. I've been your host. You can find me on Twitter at DrewDotsonNFL. With me has been my excellent co-host, Tyler. You can find him on Twitter at HBombIDP. And with me has been our badass guest, Adam, at AdamTZ. You can find him on Reddit at StickyZ. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next week, and enjoy the new outro music.